This is the 3rd of August, 2024. Article put up by Fox, written by Colleen Reed, R-E-E-D, published on the 3rd of August. Title: Kamala Harris has lots of buzz, but there's one big problem she can't spin away. A major hurdle threatens to subsume Vice President Harris's admittedly strong start, and that's before her shifting policy positions come under scrutiny. Let's listen to this 5-minute clip. It's actually almost 6 minutes. Kamala is trying to script her way to the presidency. Kayleigh McEnany.
Kamala mania, just energy. A big percentage of those donors are first-time donors in this cycle, hadn't given to Biden, hadn't given to anybody. People are excited about Kamala Harris, and it shows up in the numbers. You got one heartbeat of hope. Kamala Harris raising her hand saying, I'll handle this, and it has just unleashed a flood of energy.
That's former Obama advisor Van Jones, who is all in on Kamala mania, and the rest of the media seems to be behind her as well. But despite all that glowing media coverage about the VP since she became the presumptive Democratic nominee for president, we haven't really heard from her. Until last night, that is, when she explained the importance of diplomacy during yesterday's historic prisoner swap. Watch.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy.
Oh boy, oh my goodness.
Mr. Speaker, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, first you realize there's no teleprompter there. And I've known the vice president for a long time. She always starts very strong in a campaign, even for her presidential campaign, 40,000 people in Oakland. But then she couldn't even make it to Iowa, even for her Senate race, even for her attorney general race. I think there's a reason why she's not talking to the press, because she's trying to change everything she said in the history of her life and flip the other way. She's not elected just from California. She's from San Francisco. To me, this is going to be a lot like 1988. At this moment in time, Dukakis was up by 17 points. Then we found out how liberal he was with the Willie Horton ads. Then we watched a moment in time where he tried to show that he was strong, so he put on a helmet in a tank and he looked like he could not be president. Then we watched a question in a debate, would he still stay with death penalty even if his wife was raped? He said no. You watch what they just did with the 9/11 individuals. She just answered that question. When you start going back and you see this type of talk, but you go back, don't say Merry Christmas. She's been in charge of the border. I've been the leader of the Republican Party and the speaker. Never once did she call us in and ask, what are your ideas? What should we do? As a president, you're going to have to work with all sides. She doesn't even work with her Democrats. It's only the most liberal ones which she defend. Ilhan Omar, when she made the anti-Semitic comments, she defended her as a senator.
Now, Kayleigh, will this real-world experience and true facts be enough to combat the gaslighting the media is putting forth?
That's a great question. Look, I think Kamala herself loses in a historic landslide. Kamala plus media is something entirely different. This is why Kamala, the new basement for her is the teleprompter. She wants a scripted campaign. Stay in the teleprompter. Stay in the basement. Script my way to the presidency. That is what she's relying on. And where is the press? It is in their interest to clamor for press conferences, for freewheeling interviews, for long-form interviews. They're not asking for it. They don't want it. They want this person scripting her way to the presidency. And we can bring this up as proof. I mentioned it's going to be Kamala. The day Joe Biden left the race, here we go, New York Magazine, Kamala. They're creating Kamala, guys. Get ready, buckle up, no hard questions. She's going to try to script her way to Pennsylvania Avenue.
Now, Marie, I said the word gaslighting earlier, in part portending this, which is Joe Rogan, who's an undeniable, energetic force in media, talking about what the media is doing now. Take a watch.
She's going to win. I feel like we are in this very bizarre time where people are giving in to the in a way that I never suspected people would before. And this is one, they just want no Trump, no matter what, and they're willing to gaslight themselves.
Well, interestingly, I was watching another network this morning, and they were pressing Kamala surrogates for when she's going to do an interview. So I actually think that the press is really waking up to the fact that she will have to. She has to answer questions. I also think Donald Trump should debate her on a debate stage. He's waffling on that. He should get on that debate stage and debate her.
Sooner rather than later.
Sooner rather than later. So I will say Kamala has reset the entire race. Look at the polls. She is back where any typical sort of Democrat would be. Democrats knew we were going to lose with Joe Biden, and she has coalesced the party, and she has brought in enthusiasm. And the last thing I'll say, Dukakis wasn't running against Donald Trump. And Kamala, for all of her past questions with her presidential campaign, she's running as a happy warrior. She's out there making the case for a positive view of America. You might disagree with it, but she's out there with enthusiasm. And Trump is out there with a lot of anger, divisiveness, bitterness. Those two comparisons, the American people are going to pick hope every single time.
I'd say more of a toy soldier, but I have to do a real-time fact check that it's not waffling on the debate. He's just waiting for the confirmation she is indeed the nominee.
We will see, my dear.
So Marie describes the approach, the campaign approach of Kamala Harris. I've not heard from Kamala Harris. I don't know what her approach is, if it's a campaign of hope. Now she's going to choose
She's done a bunch of speeches.
You're going to have a vice president who I think is also going to be hitting the ground running. So that's going to be somebody who might, placate the media in a certain sense. No, but this is a woman who is trying to shape herself as Trump, but not when it comes to policies. And it's the media. You're correct. Is that it's a short amount of time. She certainly couldn't have pulled this off in a normal campaign, and she might be able to if the American people allow it.
Hmm.
Pretty insane, is it not? Trust is hard to earn and easy to lose. It's running in short supply in the Biden White House and the Harris presidential campaign by extension. After a head spinning July, the Harris campaign has 93 days to stand up to a national political operation. The trust deficit threatens to subsume Vice President Harris' admittedly strong start, even before her shifting policy positions come under scrutiny. Last November, Harris assured the public that not only is the Biden absolutely authoritative in rooms around the globe, but in the Oval Office. In February, she deemed him bold and vibrant. Over the last month, the American public learned that none of these descriptions fit the commander-in-chief. Voters are smarter than politicians give them credit for, and the case was no exception. The House of Cards collapsed on a debate stage in Atlanta, ending Biden's re-election hopes and fueling allegations of a cover-up around him, including his vice president. Then weeks after claiming that only the Lord Almighty on a medical condition would cause him to drop his bid, suddenly Biden was out and Harris was in. Obama threatened to invoke the 25th Amendment with Harris against him. That's why he dropped out. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre declared the decision had nothing to do with his health. But Biden's 11-minute speech to the nation lacked any explanation of his remarkable U-turn and reversal from his pledge that he was running this race to the end. Vice President Harris cannot claim ignorance. Earlier his term, Biden declared that she would be the last person in the room and enjoy the access that his former governing partner Barack Obama bestowed upon him during his 2 years as vice president. His 2 terms, I apologize. Indeed, Fox News Digital investigation uncovered at least 80 encounters between Biden and Harris, a number that only captures public meetings. The actual number could be much higher. To be clear, November's election will hinge on more than just the events around Biden's withdrawal. The challenge for Harris is that the issue set isn't much better either. Take the southern border, where efforts are underway to separate her from the political nightmare it has become. In March of 2021, an Associated Press headline declared, Biden taps VP Harris to lead response to border challenges. Since then, migrant encounters at the border have reached an all-time high. Immigration even supplanted the economy atop voters' lists of concerns in public polling this spring. Now the mainstream media is running cover for Harris, quibbling over the term border czar, dismissing it as a misleading label from Republicans while ignoring her broader culpability. Ringing equally hollow are the Biden-Harris efforts to cast the election as a defense of democracy. It's long been a soundbite for Biden administration. To be fair, the issue polled surprisingly high in the 2022 midterm elections, where Democrats exceeded all expectations, trailing only the economy in the mind of voters, according to exit polls. So, what do you think, huh? I think the whole thing's insane. This bitch is a cackling freak with zero accomplishments. You can't point to one thing that he, she, or it has done as the vice president of the United States of America other than collect money and do squats. She's a typical politician.